My man James Artissen. Congratulations on all the success, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You named Houdini as one of the influential groups in your career. To have your solo debut feature them, for one, how'd you pull that off, and what did it mean to you, bro?
Man, well, first off, shout out to Houdini. One of my favorite groups of all time. Grew up listening to them as a young kid. So just having the opportunity to even meet them and be around them was a win for me in the beginning. But fast forward, I was crafting a project in 2019 called Blue Leisure, which ended up being my debut EP. And at the time, I was working with a producer by the name of Rob. And Rob was already good friends with DJ Del Tanya Cannon, which was Ecstasy's girlfriend. Of course, everybody knows Ecstasy from Houdini.
Definitely.
And that was kind of the introduction. I got to meet him and Jalil and the rest of the crew, and really just kind of came down to just being around right place at the right time. We started coming to the studio together. I was working on a record called Move, which was the last record that I was doing for the project. And they were just interested in getting on the song, which that kind of surprised me. And one thing led to another. They did the verse, and that was it.
Man, you have a multifaceted musical artistry, singer, songwriter, producer. You can do a little bit of it all. In today's times, especially when music is pushed out so fast, how important is it to have those in your tool belt?
I think they're all important. They all go hand in hand. You really can't have a song without production. You can't have a song without the talent, and you can't have a song without powerful lyrics and content. So, I've always prided myself in being the best and being well versed in all of those attributes, because if I don't have one, something is going to lack. So anytime that I create something musically, I've always kept that in my head. Okay, let me perfect this side of it, go to the next, and then we just create the masterpiece.
Do you enjoy more than the other at this stage, or is it still a process that you enjoy all three facets of that?
I love it all. I
Okay.
love it all because it's all creativity to me. It's all uh, just art. And anytime that I create something, I don't really go into it with expectations, or I don't really go into it of trying to chase the popularity of it or trying to please someone. I'm always thinking about it in the sense of, does it feel good to me? Do I like it? And of course, it's a blessing when the rest of the world loves it as well. But it all starts with you.
What is your creative process, James? Are you one of those guys where you like a group around you so you can kind of pick off each other's brain? Are you completely secluded when you're in your creative process? What is your process when you create music?
Most times I'm secluded.
Mm.
I like to kind of be in my own element, in my own space. And, there are times when I bring other people in, like I might bring my engineer in, or another writer if I'm collaborating, or another producer. But most of the time it's pretty small. I don't really like a bunch of people in the space, because that kind of distracts me, and that kind of not that tears me away from what I'm doing, but I just like to kind of be in my own head. And, once I kind of feel I'm at a space to where it's presentable for me to kind of get other ears on it, then I'll do that. But most of the time I'm just kind of in my own zone and space by myself.
Definitely, man, definitely. In 2024, you created Humble Sound Records. Do you feel like it was necessary for you to have your own imprint so you can kind of maneuver the way you wanted to? And what was the process of starting up Humble Sound Records?
Well, I've always saw myself as being a mogul, and someone that wanted to do different things. And of course, having your own imprint is a part of that. And I've always wanted to start my own imprint, but I've always believed that you have to crawl before you walk, and you have to go through the steps to get to certain levels. And right now, I feel like I'm at a certain level to where I'm able to create that imprint, which is the reason why at this stage in my career, I've been able to do that. So Humble Sound Records is just an imprint that embodies not only me, but all creators, because I feel like at some point everybody has humility in them, and
Yes.
especially when it comes to their craft. But it's up to you to bring the best out of your craft, but in a way that is inspiring other people, and in a way that it's also inspiring yourself to be better and just to stay consistent and to grow. So that's what the meaning behind the imprint is. And then also too, just embodying the creativity in all genres of music. So we're not just a hip hop label, we're not just an R&B label, we're a label that embraces all genres. So you might hear artists and releases in the hip hop R&B field, but then you might hear dance, house, EDM, pop music, you know. So that's where we like to keep the artistry flourishing, is embracing it all. And you know, and in terms of creating an imprint, you have to have a solid team, but then you also have to have great distribution and great execution with putting out artists, and those are the things that we've studied for the longest, and now we've been able to, you know, to do that.
No, absolutely, man. I want to ask you this. Do you recall what it was like hearing a song that you were, or a project that you were either a part of or it was yours on the radio for the first time? And what was that feeling like for you?
Oh, man. I remember probably back when I was just producing and writing, and I remember I had placed a song on an artist by the name of Keeson Moore, and it was like a hip hop R&B record. I think it was called Inked Up. And at the time in Atlanta, Georgia, this is where I was living at, V103 and Hot 1079 were the biggest stations, and arguably they still are today. And they were playing the song on the air, and I'm like, you know, because I'm like 18, 19 years old, and, you know, I never had a song on the radio before like that. I'm just, you know, fairly new. And I heard it on the radio, and I'm like, wow, okay, you know, that's my work. And after that, you know, it was kind of like a high, like almost like when you're on stage in front of 30,000 people, it's that high that you get, right? And you want to chase that high. You want to create, you know, something different just to get that high again. And that's kind of what it was for me. You know, I'm like, okay, if I could do that, I could do it again, and I could do it again, and, you know, get to bigger artists and do bigger records. And that's kind of what it was, you know, just, you know, trying to get back to that, but do it in better ways. And that's what kind of shaped the trajectory of my career. And before you know it, I just had bigger records and just kept going from there.
The same high, you're a three-time Grammy nominated artist, so I'm sure it's the same thing. It's like just keep chasing that. Whatever you feel a high is, that's the goal.
Yeah. But on top of that, it's all about the consistency, because, you know, it's easy for someone to get complacent when they begin to get accolades and, you know, they're starting to see different things happening. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to just kind of stay there and bask in that. But for me, I've never really been that person. I've always been a forward thinker, and I've always been a person of, you know, go, and just what's next. So most times when I've probably accomplished something, or I knock something off the list, I kind of forget about it in a sense, mm-hmm. because I'm always on the next thing. So it probably takes someone else to kind of remind me of, hey man, we just did this, like, let's slow down for a second.
Definitely.
And you know, let's just kind of bask in it before we go to the next thing. But, you know, my mind goes a million miles an hour. So, you know, I guess that's just a creative thing.
Absolutely, 100%. You, one thing I love that I see from you is your collaborations are very diverse, but it's like you tap into people who I feel are very underrated. My man Dave Tolliver from Men at Large, Goody Mob,
Oh yeah,
Cujo, and Big Gipp, I think is one of the most underrated rappers out there. What
yeah.
what was the thought process behind grabbing Cujo, Big Gipp, Dave Tolliver, just some of the people you've collaborated with who I feel like are kind of probably underappreciated?
Um, most times when I'm collaborating with artists, it's usually the artists that I admire. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really go after people that I haven't listened to or I don't really have an appreciation for.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of I don't really like manufactured records. Like I like to do records that feel good, that make sense. I, for the most part, have a relationship with the artist or just someone that I admire. And in these cases, Dave Tolliver is somebody that I've known for a very long time. So, that was just kind of the inevitable for us. But as far as Goody Mob and Cujo and Gipp and Dungeon Family and all those guys, um, sort of the same thing. We just kind of really organically connected. I've connected with Gipp years ago. Actually, the first time we ever worked together was at my studio at the time when I was working with Corrupt.
Mm.
And Corrupt was living in Atlanta, and my studio was the studio he frequented the most. And me and Corrupt was working on a song called "Top of the World," and he had the idea of putting Gipp on the record. Gibb came through that same evening when we had the session, and he did his verse, and that was kind of the first time that we all had worked together, but that was specifically the first time that I had worked with Gibb. And that song ended up being a single off of me and Gibb's project called Gipp N Worthy. And, we just kind of kept the relationship and always kept working, and that was kind of the same thing with Cujo. I met Cujo through Gibb and CeeLo, and we just kind of built a relationship and a working relationship with that, and we started working on records. So we put out a couple of singles and just kept going.
Speaking of collaborations, man, is there artists like you said you like to work with people you admire, or there's some kind of um, artistry brain sharing there? Is there an artist that you would love to collaborate with who you haven't had the opportunity yet?
And there's a bunch. I would probably say big fan of Chris Brown. Love
Okay.
Chris Brown. Kanye West, The Weeknd, Frank Ocean, Sia, Miguel, Nile Rodgers. Um, man, there's so many to name.
You got a good taste in music, though, brother.
But yeah, I'm just a guy, man. Like I just love the art and creativity, man. And anybody that's just opening up the boundaries and anybody that's just dope, in my opinion, I'm open to it.
For sure, man. Before I let you go, James, from Blue Leisure to Kaleidoscopes to what you're working on present day, how do you feel you've not only grown as an artist, but understanding the business and understanding timing and things like that with dropping albums? Just how have you grown overall since those first two albums?
I think I've grown a lot because in the beginning with Blue Leisure, that was like more of an experimental phase. So I was trying to find myself as an artist and trying to find the sound and find the direction and, what do I really want to display as an artist and what do I really want to talk about? And, over the course of the years from that, I've grown a lot. I've experienced a lot more. I've understood what goes behind being an artist and what it takes to be an artist, not only, but understanding the changing of business and the changing of the infrastructure of business and how you have to adapt and, how things are ran now.
Mm-hmm.
And all those things you have to take into account because as an artist, you're not only evolving in yourself, but you have to evolve in the landscape of the music business because things are always changing. And if you don't stay up on it, you're just going to get lost in the rat race. And I've never wanted to be that person. So, all the way from Blue Leisure to Cups of Coffee now, I think people have kind of seen the evolution of me, and, they're just along for the ride.
Without a doubt, man. Well, everybody go check out the Cups of Coffee. Definitely. I love your sound, brother. And like I say, some of your collaborations are ones that are kind of come out of left field, but I love them because I do think you tap into something that a lot of people aren't. Man, is there anything you want to say before I let you go, brother?
Man, thank you for having me, first and foremost, on your
Absolutely.
platform. Thank you to all the fans, all the supporters, anybody that's listening to James Artissen. Thank you so much. Anybody can follow me on social media at James Artissen. You can go to the website www.jamesartissen.com and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/James Artissen. And once again, thank you for all the support.
My man.